The 8th generation has opened up the door to some of the most expansive open world games ever on PlayStation, and that doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon either. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the top 10 upcoming PS4 open world games. Let's get right into this. Number 10, Steep. Ubisoft has been putting out a ton of open world games this generation: Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, The Division, and here's another, Steep. Unlike those games being very actiony, Steep is an extreme sports game set in the Alps. The game is comprised of 4 main activities: skiing, wingsuit flying, snowboarding, and paragliding. The game is very focused on its online play. All players share the same game world and engage in the various objectives simultaneously. Steep is a very different open world game, and considering we haven't had a great snowboarding game in a long time, it'll be nice to see. The game is set for a release in December of this year. Number 9, Gravity Rush 2. Gravity Rush was one of the best games on the PlayStation Vita, but being on the Vita definitely limited its potential popularity. The game was eventually ported over to the PS4, and now we have Gravity Rush 2, which will be built ground up on Sony's console. Gravity Rush 2 will have a fully open world, and the first game also had an explorable world, but the one in the sequel will be around 2 to 3 times larger, so expect a lot more content. We still don't have a release date, but hopefully we see the game before 2016 is out, although early 2017 might be more likely. Number 8, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Earlier this year, Ubisoft released Tom Clancy's The Division, and that came to a pretty lukewarm response. Now they have another big-budget open-world action game in Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Wildlands is a tactical, cooperative, open-world shooter set in the modern world. The game will be extremely dynamic. The world of Wildlands evolves even without player interaction. As time goes by, the world in the game will change, and while the game definitely has a focus on multiplayer, you can play it solo. However, if you do, you'll be accompanied by 3 AI players, so probably be best if you have some friends to play with. Ghost Recon Wildlands releases on March 7th, 2017.
That's what I'm trying to do. Damn it, he dodged it.
Hang on, guys, I'm nearly there.
Number 7, No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is one of the most anticipated games of this generation. It was announced in 2013, shortly after the PS4 was released, and the release finally seems to be in sight. No Man's Sky is being developed by Hello Games, a very small studio working on an extremely ambitious game. It takes the traditional open world formula and amplifies it by becoming an open universe game. You'll explore several procedurally generated planets, each being its own world. And when I say several, we're talking 18 quintillion planets. The game will be filled with content, but the real question is, will it be engaging? No Man's Sky has ambition all over it, and usually with games like this, it's either gonna be really good or really bad. We'll hope for the former, as No Man's Sky is set to release on August 9th. Number 6, Watch Dogs 2. Oh, would you look at that, another Ubisoft open world game. Watch Dogs 2 isn't a new IP, but it is the follow-up to one of the most successful games this generation, at least commercially. The first Watch Dogs game was far from perfect, but it very much resembled the first Assassin's Creed game, where there were clear issues, but you could tell that there's a lot of potential in the Watch Dogs IP. Now we've got Watch Dogs 2, and so far the gameplay looks pretty good. And with the release just being a few months away, we probably won't see a downgrade. Watch Dogs 2 is set in San Francisco, and you play as Marcus Holloway, as he tries to take down the city's surveillance system. The setup to the game is great, and hopefully Watch Dogs 2 follows the same route as Assassin's Creed 2, where it really fixes the issues in the first game and becomes a more well-rounded experience. We'll find out on November 15th. Number 5, Mafia 3. Mafia 2 was one of the cult favorites on the last generation platforms, and now we finally are getting a sequel in Mafia 3. While Mafia 2 was a relatively linear experience, Mafia 3 will feature a fully open world in New Orleans. The game does look a tad bit more actiony than Mafia 2, but it still retained the tone and ambiance the second game set, so that's great. Mafia 3 releases on October 7th. Number 4, Final Fantasy 15. We've been waiting for Final Fantasy 15 for such a long time now. The game was initially announced back in 2006 as Final Fantasy Vs 13. It's evolved quite a bit over the last decade, from a name change, console change, character changes, but it's almost here and it looks to be the most ambitious Japanese RPG ever. From a technical standpoint, the game is absolutely jaw-dropping. From the world design and detail, it's a very good-looking game. The gameplay is more action-oriented compared to previous Final Fantasy games. It plays more like Kingdom Hearts, but nonetheless it worked well in the demo, and hopefully the final game builds upon that. After years of waiting, Final Fantasy 15 will finally arrive on September 30th.
Can we restore the light?
Number 3, Days Gone. Sony Ben's newest game is Days Gone, an open-world action-adventure game set in a post-apocalyptic world taking place 2 years after a global pandemic killing almost all of humanity and transforming millions of others into freakers, essentially mindless zombies. So it's not the most interesting premise in the world. We've seen these chaotic open-world games before, but Days Gone, judging by the trailer, does seem to have more of an emphasis on its storytelling, and that's a nice change of pace for these kinds of games. This is Sony Ben's first AAA console game in a very long time. Hopefully they deliver. Days Gone probably won't be out for a while. Late 2017 makes sense. Number 2, Spider-Man Insomniac. For a long time we've wanted Spider-Man to be done justice by video games. Don't get me wrong, there have been some pretty good Spider-Man games, but nothing to the level of what the Batman Arkham games did for Batman. Well, we might finally be getting that. A new Spider-Man game is coming from Insomniac, the guys who created Resistance, Ratchet & Clank, and Sunset Overdrive. The debut trailer looked absolutely spectacular. Who knows if the final game will end up looking like that, but Insomniac seems to be crafting something special here. Now, we probably won't get our hands on Spider-Man for a while. Holiday 2017 or early 2018 seems likely. Number 1, Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn is the newest game from one of Sony's 8 studios in Guerrilla Games. Those are the guys best known for the Killzone games, and while they've created a successful series, they are really stepping out of their comfort zone with Horizon Zero Dawn. It's an open-world post-apocalyptic action RPG with mech-like dinosaurs. Yeah, a far cry from the first-person shooter that was Killzone. And as we've come to expect from Guerrilla, Horizon is a technical marvel. The game looks amazing. The gameplay looks pretty good as well and has a layer of complexity with the ability of using the machinery around the world. At the very least, you have to give Horizon Zero Dawn credit for its innovation and originality. The game was originally scheduled for a 2016 release, but it has now been delayed until February of 2017.
Try jumping now!
So that wraps up our countdown of the top 10 upcoming PlayStation 4 open world games. What do you